Hello, I'm Jan Hogarth from Placemate Architects, and today I'd like to introduce you to one of my collaborators, Joanna McMinn from My Veranda. We've worked together because we have a similar viewpoint about how homes and landscapes can be improved to add lasting value to your property. Joanna, hello.
Hi, Jan. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
I design residential gardens in mostly in Brisbane, but southeast Queensland, and I focus in, my true passion is the using the subtropical gardens that do so well in our climate and therefore are less maintenance. Sort of better value for money because they grow like crazy. You can put in the smaller plants, and that's my passion.
Now the other thing is, just listening to me, you can tell that I'm from Queensland, and you can tell that Joanna is not from Queensland. So how did you fall in love with subtropical gardens?
Well, it was looking out my bedroom window as a child in Halifax, Nova Scotia, in the middle of winter, dreaming of warmer climates, knowing they were out there, and just seeking it out. So to me, this is the ultimate in relaxation, in luxury, is having a subtropical garden. So I guess I planted myself where I needed to grow, and that was in Brisbane, and I am creating beautiful, lush tropical gardens for my clients.
Well, let's see a few of them. Oh, and you've just won an award. Congratulations.
Thanks so much. That was just awarded on Thursday from the Landscape Design Institute of Australia, and I'm very proud of this garden.
And we've got a before and an after on this.
Yes, this is located in Tenerife, for those of you that are familiar with Brisbane, and really small block size. This garden is viewed from the veranda above. That's where the living area is, and my clients were desperate for a reason to go down into that garden because, as you can see, their attempt at creating a patio and retaining wall and thing was falling short of their expectations. So I was brought on board to create something beautiful from above and also inviting everyone down to the garden.
So you've essentially created a new room in their house.
Absolutely.
And it's a place where they can go and sit and recharge their batteries in their home.
Absolutely, and surrounded by the green, creating some privacy because obviously being in the inner city, they've got a lot of overlooking from other people around them, and we needed a place where just something intimate. They, small groups, family, just to come and sit in the garden and enjoy it.
And here's another one. This one just blows me away because you've kept the bones of the building the same and created a whole other environment in the property.
This one was really interesting. It was I started out designing a garden for my client. That's what she thought she wanted. And as I brought design after design to her, she didn't want a designed garden. She didn't want a space to actually sit in the garden. She wanted an active place. She loved this path. She really loved the way that it just moved through the space, and she wanted me to create a reason to go and follow that path through the garden. And this is just within a year. Wow. We managed to get some beautiful growth.
But the other thing that's amazing about it is it's created a tropical haven. You can't see your neighbours at all. So in both our designs, I'd say we work with the owners to whatever their requirements are.
Absolutely, and sometimes they don't even know what those requirements are until they start to work through that process.
We're kind of, there's no, it's not a standard process. Every time it's customised to the owner and the site and the building. But the underlying principle is that when you're at home, you can recharge your batteries. It's whatever recharges your own batteries, so then you can go back out to the world. So your home is a haven. When it's not a showpiece. And you said this is a year old. I mean, I can tell this didn't cost $2,000, but in 15 years' time, when the house changes property, it's still going to be good. So it's an investment. Both of us, people are investing serious money in improving your home, and we have to be accountable about that.
Absolutely, but in actuality, this is one of the lesser sort of expenses is soil, plants, good quality plants. Obviously, my client invested in the design as well, and the labor to put it in. There's nothing she had this already. She just needed the plants and someone who could see her vision and help her to bring it to life. And she's really thrilled. She really loves this space.
I have to tell you, as an architect, like the cost of a garden compared to the cost of a room, there's no comparison. What you can get for the same amount of money that I can, that you can get much bigger garden than you can a room.
And I think people need to realise that it does still cost to create that space outside.
I'm not saying that, but I can tell you now, 20 grand in a building, nothing. But I'm not saying it's enough. Obviously, we want more, but nevertheless, a square metre of construction is $5,000. 1 metre toilet costs $10,000. So if by hiring an architect, you can squeeze up and get efficiency in the design space. Do your building and your garden at the same time. It's really valuable.
Really, really important, so that you're not left with that mud pit out the front that you have to walk through every time you get to your beautiful new home.
End of a construction site, it's a moonscape. It's awful, and your house looks meh.
Yeah.
Okay, and another award.
I know, another award. Very exciting. This was awarded on Thursday as well, and I got a bronze for mid-sized garden for this garden in Indooroopilly. And my client, I waffled on about my love for subtropical plants, and as you can see, the plant palette here is sort of more of a native grass-like. That was what my client wanted. And she wanted a place, she felt that she didn't really need a veranda with covered any shade or anything, and you'll see in the next shot why, but really just wanted an extension of her living space and a place to sort of frame the view out. This is an aerial shot of the garden. So the house is here, looking out towards this space and then traveling down to the pool, which is a little bit hidden.
You know why she won the award? Look at this, it's fantastic. And quite a nice tree there in the corner.
Yes, this block was actually belonged to the neighbors, and it was sold off as a building site. And so the home was constructed. And this was about the only thing I was able to sort of save from that original garden, which is this beautiful bottle tree. And it is just pivotal to this design. I think it's really important when you're clearing sites and removing trees to remember what does have value, because you cannot replace that. You cannot bring anything in that just anchors the whole garden to the
But the other thing about
landscape.
This one is the living room connects right through. Like, you can't tell, that's just the pool fence. How much land do these people own? Like, you saw in that other shop, there's houses down below here, but the impression from this living room is your eye goes out as far as the horizon. So to be able to frame the views and sculpt the shape from the house to the inside to outside and create this flow, I mean, that's never going to get built out. It's not going to... in 15 years' time, that's just going to look better and better and better.
And this is suburban Brisbane. It's pretty great. So, maximizing the outlook from the home and really taking advantage of those board views.
And I don't know what's on the other side of that wall, but I don't even care.
Doesn't matter.
Which is great. So it can be something. Here we are, another one of yours.
Yes, this one won an award too, actually. It was last year. I won a bronze award, and I was very excited. I was really shy about even putting it in because, I mean, it was quite a modest backyard in Kenmore. And my client was desperate for a place for her children to play, and she really is a gorgeous mid-century home that they're renovating, and she wanted this flat garden to sort of extend. Obviously, we had to deal with some retaining issues, but she didn't want just a flat retaining wall across the back, so we played with some curves, and we got it just looking so beautiful. And also played with textures and colors in the plant materials.
So sometimes people who come to me with their houses, they've never had any experience with gardens, and it just frightens them that they're going to be locked into doing heaps of maintenance. But this is a woman with a couple of kids, and I assume she's working. She's not going to have whole weekends to do maintenance. So how much maintenance does something like this need?
Well, I think by choosing the right plants and putting them in beautiful soil, choosing the right plant for our climate. And so that's probably, why my subtropical gardens are looking so lush and lovely, is because they are the right plants for our climate.
Now, what happens if there's a drought?
Well,
And I'm just curious. We've had a lot of wet years. So.
I know, we really have, and we thought we were going to have one this year as well, and we've dodged a bullet.
Yeah.
That's the gardens are a work in progress always, and we have to work with the environment and the climate. I mean, installing water tanks and things like that can help somewhat.
But do they need to be watered, or they just be okay in the dry seasons?
Everything needs to be watered.
Okay.
We've lived through droughts before, and some plants thrive, better than others, and it's important to get those plants in hotter parts of the garden need to be more robust than shadier parts.
But you'd be picking to suit. Like you've kind of thought through all that stuff.
Absolutely.
Because you're not just putting in something like me picking something from Bunnings. Mm-hmm. Not that I would do that. But the chances of you getting the planting right would be a lot better than the chance of me.
Well, I can
so.
Tell you that's what I've studied, years and worked for the last 25 years to establish that plant knowledge. And hey, it's all trial and error because every environment is unique to its own. And how much is the client going to do? Okay, we say low maintenance, but nothing is no maintenance. So it's really important to keep that in mind that you've got to maintain your investment. And if you don't have the time, then hire somebody to come in and give you a hand when you need it, and not, just think of it as really protecting that money that you have put forward into this garden and making it thrive. And my client might be time poor, but she is, she's keeping this one looking gorgeous.
But so I've got one of these, and I get the guys like it's not as tidy as these. One of these kind of wild gardens. And look, seriously, I get a couple of guys around to hack it back every 6 months and chuck it in the green bin, and that's my idea of low maintenance.
Yeah. And I designed Jan's garden.
Yeah, it's excellent. No fun of it. Okay, so this is a project that we did together. It's our first collaboration. From our perspective, it was for a Queenslander, obviously. We changed the position of the front door from there, which as you can see is the old Queenslander, down to the side here. This was just grass, and there's a family moving in here with some kids. So the backyard is just all pool, and we'll come to that in a minute. But so they needed a place to run around at the front of the house. It's a bit different. But over to you, Joanna.
Yes, well, I was brought in this project early on by my client, and who introduced me to Jan. So that was quite.
Yeah. I wasn't entirely happy with that, but it turned out okay.
So, I mean, I had to work with Jan's design of the, moving the entrance around. I had to focus on how are we going to lead those people, pedestrians, through that experience, and how are we going to find that front door. And so, that brought in for those practical points as well as worrying, how are we going to create a beautiful place for the children to run around, and we've got a trampoline over here and stuff like this. And this is what we inherited.
Terracotta pool.
I was just...
neither of us loved it.
Yeah.
And all the neighbours kind of looked into this. It was all pretty weary, This is just a quick shot of it. The fences, I think, were existing, so we just...
painted them a dark colour, made them disappear behind the green planting.
And a classic is, there's 3 different properties, all with 3 different fences. I think there was 5, actually.
Probably.
Yeah. And so just painting it out, you lose it in the landscaping.
Yeah.
But this is the whole reason of the success. These photos taken about a year after the project was finished. So in my mind, I was trying to get a kitchen, living, dining room, outdoor living areas that are all connected up to the garden. Now at the back here, there's a house here looking this way. You'd hardly even register that it was here. So the idea is they've moved up from Sydney. They wanted to have that Brisbane relaxed way of living so the kids could come in and out, and it's just looking out over the pool. We have this kind of double height space and this beautiful subtropical place to be. Yeah,
absolutely, Jan. You did an amazing job. This was just, I can't even describe what this looked like before Jan got her
dog's
fingers
breakfast
on it. Yeah. It really was, and it's just come through so beautifully. And I think it's the importance of working with the architecture, or the architect, and the landscape designer at this point, but
and the builder,
and pulling that landscape into their living space, so they get to enjoy it while they're inside, and they then they flow out to this beautiful garden, and there's another garden space that connects the front to the back. That's quite an interesting journey through.
And the other thing is that selection of the materials, so that the inside materials and the outside kind of all connected. So it's really
right
like
through.
The landscaping in the home is a series of rooms, and this house is only going to get better as time goes on.
It's absolutely stunning, actually. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. So, just to sum up, I guess the landscape and the architects, we're both architects, we've got a similar design philosophy, and it's really about getting the best value out of your investment in your property. If you're going to embark on this journey of improving your home, you want to get that joy out of those spaces. I'm doing it one way, you're doing it another.
Absolutely.
But the best is when you've got this synergy between inside and out.
Absolutely, and making that work, and I think that's so integral to the success of any project is, and how do you connect your home to the landscape? And I mean, it's my perspective. I solve all the world's problems with landscape and green, and that's just the way I go about it. But it's taking all those practical issues and sort of solving them in the bigger context of how does the home sit in the landscape, what are our constraints, and what are we trying to maximize, and
at another level, I mean, that's all the practicality stuff. You need a kitchen bench, but I think a really successful home, it does ground you to a place.
Yes.
And there's something about being grounded. We go out to work, we go out to school, we come back to our lives. When we come to our home, it's a facility, obviously, but it is a place that you can recharge your spirits. And it's a way of families connecting, or families and friends being relaxed in a place that helps them, whatever that is for them. And that's Absolutely. What you're doing with your landscaping.
Absolutely, customizing it to
suit whatever those people want
and whatever they value.
Yeah, and it's not my cup of tea necessarily, or yours. It's getting the right mix.
And I think that's the key to a successful designer is listening and then being able to translate what my client is saying to the actual realities that are existing and to other things like boring things like budget and et cetera. How do we bring that together?
Well, that's a reality check, Absolutely. But we're not going, you can't do this. We've got another DIY thing coming up soon. But if you're going to embark on this renovation journey, this is something for you to consider.
And a big consideration that sometimes gets forgotten.
Thank you very much, Joanna. I've really enjoyed this conversation, but where can people find you?
Oh, thanks, Jen. Thanks for having me. People can find me at myveranda.com.au, and that's myverandah.com.au. Or you can find my most up-to-date pretty pics of gardens that I've been working on Instagram, My Veranda. You can find me under My Veranda. Thanks so much.
Thank you.